Hi guys, this is Scribbly again with another pen review, and today we again have something fairly interesting right here in front of us. It's the TWSBI Go that we're going to look at today. Pen has been sent to me by Joost at appelboompennen.com in the Netherlands. Thanks Appelboompennen and Joost for sending this pen over for review. As said, pen is the TWSBI Go spring-loaded mechanism fountain pen in a fine nib. TWSBI made in China. That's the packaging. Looks in style very much, of course, like the other TWSBI packaging, just that it's a little bit smaller. And it does have like a very minimalist user manual right here that basically shows you how to fill that fountain pen. It's a snap cap fountain pen that unscrews, has a plunger right here. You press that plunger down, put the ink, put the nib in ink, in an ink bottle. Release the plunger, that's gonna fill the fountain pen, and then you just screw the body back on. That's a fairly interesting filling mechanism, and I think that the TWSBI Go is pretty much unique, perhaps the only fountain pen out there available that sports such a filling mechanism. Let's have a look at the pen. This is the all clear model, such as many other TWSBIs. It does come in a variety of other colors. I don't know them all by heart, but as said, the pen then does have different colors. It's very much a cylindric fountain pen. Cap sits up here. You have the TWSBI logo finial right here. Pen says TWSBI Go here. Little bit hard to see, of course, because it is all transparent, but I think when I angle the pen, you can see it. Then it has this little thingy here, this little loop that essentially acts as a roll stop, which pretty much honestly only works if you don't place the pen, you know, on the table too roughly. If you do that, it won't stop the pen from rolling around, but if you place it on your desk a bit more gently, then it will work. So it's a, you know, let's call it a semi-efficient roll stop. Cap right here, pen body, and then you have like this spring, which is the filling mechanism. And I'll show you that now in a bit. Cap pops off like so. Has an inner cap that prevents the nib from drying out. That works very, very well. I never had a problem with this nib drying out. One problem, I don't know if it's a huge problem, but like a thing that does happen is as you cap and uncap the pen, and I'm not a very, you know, wild pen uncapper or something like that, but as you keep doing that, apparently the cap catches some ink splatters right here. It's not a huge issue, and I never really had any problems with it. But what of course could happen is that as you then cap the pen, some of these ink splatters get onto the section, and as you then start grabbing the section, you might get ink on your fingers. As said, I never really noticed it, and I never had a huge issue with it, but it's just something that I thought I'll point out right here for you. Snap cap is of course nice because it makes the pen a quick note taker. I must say that it's a very nice mechanism, but the cap is a little flimsy. It's not, I wouldn't be scared that it's prone to break in regular usage, but if I just exert ever so slightly a little pressure, as you can see, I can deform the cap a little bit, which is also why, yes, I mean, you can post it. I don't think that it's designed to be posted, and it doesn't really have like a natural stop when you post it. I wouldn't post it much more than that because I would be honestly a bit worried that if I would push it a little bit deeper, that the cap might crack. It's also completely unnecessary, honestly, to post the pen because like it becomes very long and a little unwieldy. It doesn't become top heavy whatsoever because it's overall a very, very lightly and lightweight construction, very lightly constructed fountain pen, a very lightweight construction, so to say. And it's a relatively large fountain pen, as you will see in the size comparison also in a moment. I do have relatively large hands, and even in my relatively large hands, the pen sits comfortably. So yeah, there's no real need in posting it. I just wanted to show you that you could, because some people, they, you know, just find comfort in knowing that the cap is right there and doesn't, you know, they don't lose it and it's rolling around somewhere on the desk. But yeah, as said, this is like perhaps a little flimsy, but I don't know. So far, holds up pretty well. You then have a section right here. The rest of the pen is a very clear plastic, as you are used to it perhaps from the TWSBI Eco or so. This here is a bit of a milky plastic. The section is round, has like a quite pronounced tapering from top to bottom, and at the bottom flares out into like a bit of a triangular shape. I'm not sure if you can see that here on camera. I believe you can, which is not dissimilar from the Lamy Safari, just that it's not that pronounced. I find the pen surprisingly comfortable. In the beginning, I find it a bit, yeah, it took a bit getting used to, but then after a while, I found this like to be a very, very, very nice and comfortable writer. It's pretty cool that you can really find your writing position. And since it's a relatively large pen, as said, if you prefer, you know, a bit of like a girthier pen, you can hold it up here. If you prefer a little bit of like a, you know, thinner section, you can hold it down there. And if you prefer to have a bit of like this triangular Lamy Safari style of grip that guides your grip ever so slightly, then you can hold the pen down there. And then here at the bottom of the pen, it has a little bit of a ridge, which guides the snap cap mechanism and locks it into place. We then have a nib. You can't see much of it right now because it's covered in Rohrer and Klingler document-proof black ink, but it's the same nib that you find on the TWSBI Eco. I'll bring one in comparison in a moment, an uninked one that has a clean nib. The nibs then look the same, plastic feet down here, but essentially it has the TWSBI logo on it, some scroll work, a breather hole, and then it says F for fine. The nib with designation. So you screw the section and, you know, entire filling mechanism all in one bit from this pen body. That's also a little bit flimsy. But yeah, it's an inexpensive pen, and we'll get to that in a second as well. So there you have it. You basically dip this pen into a ink bottle, and then it works pretty much like, I have one here, a Pilot Con 70 converter, which is basically like a pump action converter, right? So it works like a regular converter, just that you don't screw it, but you pump it. So that thing here works the same. I'm now not gonna press it because I don't want to expel ink. And then this entire thing down here, you can see some of this black ink sloshing around in here. This entire thing down here, pen is now about, you know, 1/3 still full or 1/4, acts as the ink reservoir. And as you can see, I don't think it's perhaps not so much smaller than the ink reservoir of a regular TWSBI Eco. Perhaps it's a little smaller, but yeah, it does hold a quite impressive amount of ink. That's how you close it again. It takes a little bit of effort and force to operate this mechanism because it's a quite massive spring. So when I inked the pen, I regularly get my hands dirty because it's a bit hard when you need to use that much force to keep the ink submerged to keep the nib submerged in ink, operate that thingy, and then depending on what type of ink bottle you use, how much ink is left in the ink bottle, and how wide the opening of the ink bottle is, it can be a little tricky to fill the pen. It works, but as said, I definitely do get ink on my fingers when doing that. All right, let me quickly bring in a TWSBI Eco as a size reference pen. You see that the TWSBI Go is definitely not a small pen. The TWSBI Eco is not a small pen either. You see that the TWSBI Eco looks a little bit more premium, at least to my eyes. The plastic is clearer. It doesn't look as cheap. That pen does look a little bit cheap and inexpensive to my eye. It's really like a knockabout pen. I'll bring in the Lamy Safari and I'll do a more systematic size comparison in a moment, but I just want to get to the price here quickly. I mean, the Eco, the Go, costs about 25 euro, between 21 and 25 euro, pretty much the same price range as a Lamy Safari. So this is really like an entry level, or, you know, knockabout, throw in your backpack type of fountain pen that you can travel with and you don't need to worry too much about losing it. Whereas the TWSBI Eco then, of course, is not a premium fountain pen, but it is a little bit more, you know, one line above the Go, so to say. It costs 40 to 45 euro, the Eco. So that's also a reason why the material, of course, the materials look a little bit more premium, it looks more clear, there is more plastic used, and so forth. The plastic is a little bit thicker. I promised you to show the nibs in comparison. As said, they're the exact same, but of course this one here is now a little bit more ink covered. So if you want to see the nib a little bit better, I'll show it to you right here on the Eco, and as said, it's the exact same nib. Let me just do a quick uncapped size comparison also while I'm at it, so you can see that. Pretty much the same length. The Go is perhaps 3 millimeters shorter. Sections, especially in the lower end, pretty much the same. Personally, I find the Eco more comfortable. I do prefer it over the Go. But it's a matter of taste. I also like that style, the piston filling mechanism, the all clear, not this milky thingy here. I do prefer that. I do like that better. That's the pen that I prefer. The Go is by no means a bad pen. It writes very well, writes excellently. And of course costs, you know, about half the money. So that's a difference as well. Comparison to my standard size reference pen, the Lamy Safari, and it's pretty much the exact same size. Uncapped, 3 millimeters shorter. And here we have the Eco in the picture again. Right, there you have that. Cool. I think we said almost everything that we need to say about this pen. Let's see how it writes. Spoiler alert, it writes quite nice, writes quite well, and that's what a fountain pen is supposed to do. This will now have a little bit of issues coming up, but that's not due to the pen, that's more due to the ink. And that's that Rohrer and Klingler document-proof ink that always takes a little bit of time. Especially if I haven't used the pen for a while. But now we have it, as said, with a different ink that floats much better. This really is the ink right now, right here. TWSBI Go. It has a fine nib. That fine nib is pretty much true to the size. There's no flex to this whatsoever. It's pretty much a nail, but it writes really nicely, especially with a different ink. Hey, there you have it, the review of this TWSBI Go fountain pen. A really nice and affordable, for 25 euro-ish, little knock-around fountain pen. Is not that little actually. Really good pen. Has some small thingies as the flimsy cap that I don't like so much. Other than that, really a solid and robust fountain pen. Definitely nothing you can do wrong with that investment. I hope that review was useful to you. Once again, a heartfelt thank you to Joost and the crew at appelboompennen.com in the Netherlands. Go check them out, and I'll see you at the next fountain pen or stationery review. In the meantime, I'll say ciao ciao.